Hus Life. Hussain Bokhari. Am I saying that right? Hussain Bokhari.
Hussain Bokhari.
With the proper KH.
Yeah.
Welcome, man. This is
Thank you,
Ideas
man.
into Action, episode 12, and we start off every episode by bestowing our illustrious guests with a gift. And we got one handpicked just for you, sir.
Jeez.
You a fan of Lion King?
I
Lion
am.
King? Well, sir, this right here is a Funko Pop vinyl of Mufasa.
What?
Mufasa, the father lion, the governing body in that narrative, who embodies the spirit of personal leadership.
That's true. That's very true.
How did you go about choosing a lion as the avatar for your personal brand?
It came very interesting. So I'm a faithful dude. I was lost for a long period of time, but I was found, and that faith came to me from a perspective that I deeply believe as a Shia Muslim, as a practicing Muslim, that there was somebody who I embody and I look up to, and he was a
Companion.
Imam.
Okay.
He was a companion of the Prophet, and he was son-in-law of the Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Ali.
Ali, right.
Right, and that his story just defined the way that I wanted to live my life. I wanted to embody that poise, that perfection, that ability to stand with your ground regardless of what you feel, your ability to, not share and not spit any hatred towards anybody. So I waited for a very long time, and I got lost in the middle of everything that I was doing. Growing up as a kid, I went through some deep shit, right? I got bullied. I came here. I got bullied again, and then I'm like, forget about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just become a new self.
Right.
Right.
Because the world told you that you were less than.
Yes. So I lost myself, and I became this self that the world wanted me to be.
Sure, a shell of Hussain.
Yes. And then about 4 years ago, I had a very big car accident, and I just went through like a near death type of scenario, and I was like, nope.
That'll do it to you, bro.
I'm like, that's it. So I gave up a majority of the things. I became a good, poised human being. I wanted to give back more and more and more, and then I went and got a tattoo of a lion on my.
Look at that! Yeah. Holy shit, dude! And that is impressive.
I got the sword of Imam Ali, or the companion Ali, and.
There's something about that. There's something about like latching on to some embodiment of a value, embodiment of an idea, and then erecting that as the aspirational North Star that you want to keep on moving towards, whatever that is. And I'm still in the process of finding what that is for me. I think it's a version of me that exists 20, 30, 40 years out, but I haven't fully defined it. And so what I'm doing is I'm picking certain people who I think embody values that I want to emulate, you know, LeBron James, Jay-Z, my father, so on and so forth. And I'm putting them in this pantheon of greatness that I want to pursue. But I like that you've selected a single focus. You've selected Ali as this repository of many different things that you want to be. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into that, because at that lowest moment where you were bullied back in Pakistan, and then you felt it back here in Canada, when you felt the complete loss of self and identity, what made you feel, so you talked about the accident that got you to a place where you selected Ali, but what was it specifically about that near-death experience that made you think, I got to get my shit together?
Yeah, no, I think... and
redefine
myself, yeah. I think it was the idea that I have something to lose now, right? Before, I never thought that I had something to lose. I very much became a family man, as I like to call myself now. I became a family-oriented man, and I went outside my shell and became an extrovert, and then now I'm back to being an introvert, right? And I think the ability, when you know that you have something to lose, I think you give everything up to not lose that.
Mm-hmm.
Because losing that one thing, losing yourself, which to me what it was, it just means that you're lost.
It sounds almost like you got a sense of urgency from this experience as well. Like I feel like you became aware of your mortality and aware of this thing that, we're going through life, where we're these gelatinous sacks moving through space and time, and this is all going to end at some point. But for you, it seems like that realization was accelerated, that you felt in a split second that all of this could have been over, and that you wanted to live your life differently as a result. Would that be fair to say?
More or less, but I think at that point, what I went through, I think I purposefully defined my why better, right? And I think that was the origination point of everything that started as to what it is now, right? And when I defined my why better, I had a why. I'm like, yeah, I know what I want to do.
Sure.
I know who I want to be.
Yeah.
But I don't have an idol. I never looked up to something.
Right.
And as much as my dad emulated the things that I wanted to do, it was only so much of it, right? Like you mentioned that you're grabbing these things from other people,
right.
You're amalgamating them into this pantheon, the word that you use, which is amazing because, in the Roman days, those type of areas would be used to amalgamate the strongest types of traits.
Totally.
Like people who just went head on to each other.
The like personifications of these things.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever they were. Like Athena, war, and Nike, performance, perfection. I mean, whatever. I think I'm getting my Greek gods wrong, but you're right.
And I think that why allowed me to recreate and just re-envision myself to the person that I want to be 50, 60, 70 years from now.
This is interesting, man. And, you got me thinking back to a point in my life where I would identify as way more religious than I am right now. I think that my faith tends to hover around like a belief in a higher being and an order to the universe. And sometimes I'll find myself like fully subscribed to, the tenets of Islam. But back in the day, I was all in. And I believed in Allah, I believed in the Prophet, I believed in all the tenets of Islam with an intensity that I don't have right now. And I remember vividly feeling like I had much more order and purpose and guidance in my life because that pantheon was already illustrated for me. I mean, the books, the foundational texts were already written in the form of the Quran, in the form of the Hadith. And since moving away from that, I've done exactly what you regurgitated, which is grasping at straws, trying to find derivatives of the values that were encoded in these books.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, the answer to all of this, and people who are moving through phases of darkness and confusion in their life, people who are dabbling in atheism, in their heart of hearts, they know that there's some eternal wisdom in these ancient texts, whether it's the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are thousands of years old, man.
You know what? I want to share something with you. Something I was talking to my mom about this yesterday, and she goes, I was like, it's very interesting that you start to see conversion of people who were never defined to be Muslim or never grew up as that or never even thought about, never even knew who Muslims were
Sure.
or who Muslims are. They've just, sometimes people just don't hear them.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you see a conversion rate from any religion to becoming a Muslim, it's significantly higher, especially down in states. And you've got people who've got one minority, specifically Latino Americans, are now converting down in Houston. About 95% of Latino Americans are now converting to Muslims.
What are you telling me? 95%?
95%.
That's wild.
And there's about 250,000. I was watching a Vice documentary yesterday, and 250,000 Latino Muslims in Houston, Texas.
That is wild.
And it's not about I want to be very clear about this, that it's not about conversion. It's not about you choosing to denounce your faith. It's about finding something that gives you peace.
Right.
And I this morning I was thinking about this. I'm like, what is it that I found peace in? I found peace in Islam because Islam gave me the sense of gratitude more than anything else.
That's it.
Right? It showed me what gratitude really meant, and gratitude defined the way that I wanted to live my life since that accident.
There's something to that, man. There's something about this idea of God. Like, God doesn't have to be Morgan Freeman. It doesn't have to be this white bearded dude sitting on a clouded throne somewhere. Like, God really, when you get down to the root value of what God is, it's just the highest order value in your life, whatever that is: gratitude, charity, excellence, money, science, whatever you want it to be, man. I think in many ways why Islam is so attractive to people in this time is because I would say that the era that we're in is characterized by three things: like burnout, anxiety, and distraction.
Absolutely.
And in this really frenetic time, what people are looking for desperately is they're looking for discipline, tranquility, and focus. Islam's been given that, handing it out for thousands of years,
Yeah.
man. But so has Christianity, so has Hinduism, so has Buddhism, so has, Judaism, all of that.
If you just sit down and if you just sit down and be quiet for once, you throw your phone away, not in the toilet, because you'll probably lose yourself at that point.
Dude.
If you throw your phone away and you just sit down, you just close your eyes, and you focus on something that distracted you for the rest of your life, or for the previous, of your previous life. From that moment, everything in the past, something that's been distracting you, whether it's, people calling you names, or somebody pronouncing your name wrong, or somebody giving you a sense of eagerness or anxiety, whatever it is, you find that thing. And then you just embrace it. And I think embracing the fact that I got bullied, embracing the fact that I went through some random shit that I shouldn't have gone through, embracing the fact that I never said that, why is this happening to me? And embracing the fact that I could die as I'm speaking to you right now.
Right.
And as soon as you embrace those things, you just live a more free life, full of tranquility and full of gratitude. Because as I was walking here from the Mac today, I'm looking around me and people are just hustling and bustling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here and I'm taking deep breaths and I'm like, wow, I'm walking.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a miracle, man.
Wow.
All things considered.
Wow, I'm breathing. And wow, look at the sky.
Yeah.
As I was walking, it's funny, man. I was walking and I was looking at the sky, and this guy's just standing there with a smile on his face, and I'm just like, look at that smile.
Listeners, I promise you, we haven't smoked before this podcast. This is just, we're high on life right now.
And I just wish that I could share these moments with other people, and I could just record them and share it as like I'm on LSD or something.
But you are doing that already. I mean, not LSD. You are sharing. You're participating in the sharing.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that because on your website you wrote that when you came from Pakistan in 2005 and you landed on the YYZ tarmac, something clicked for you. And maybe it clicked in a very subconscious way and it was fully activated after the accident. But you talked about habits. Tell me about that philosophy and why habits are so important to you.
So, I've had very, very bad habits. And I want to start off with the negatives because, everybody seems to just look towards the positive. I'm not a perfect human being. I don't think I'll ever be a perfect human being. I still have bad habits. But what the habits have allowed me to understand is that the person that I choose to be, habits give me a choice. And that's why I look at habits so in a microscopic lens, is because every single one of my habits, I can let go every single time. But I choose not to, because there's something in that habit that is allowing me to be a better human being.
So who are you without the habits? If you were to strip away all the daily habits that go into the construction of Hussain as we're seeing him today, who do you become?
I'm just a blank canvas.
And would you be happy with that blank canvas?
I wouldn't be.
What would that blank canvas give into? Like, what is your natural inclination without the habits?
Inclination would be negativity all the way.
Right, just being in a negative spiral.
Just being in a negative spiral consistently over and over again. Finding myself in a position where, I would become the worst version that I don't like to use the word hate, but I despise.
Right.
You know, I would become this human being that I just don't want to ever be.
Damn, that's interesting to hear, man, because I don't know too many people who would say that without the habits they have, that they're naturally happy and naturally impelled towards doing well, doing good, whether for themselves or for others. I think that most people, if left to their own devices, are self-destructive. I think it's in our nature to just kind of wither away. And we have to voluntarily do difficult things if we want to succeed. We have to put pressure against the universe and go up against the resistance of the universe that is set on making things worse. And I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but like, think about it. If you choose to do nothing, if you don't clean your room's going to get dirtier, right? If you don't get rid of the mold in your bathroom, that mold is going to fester. If you don't go to the gym every single day, you're going to get out of shape. If you don't go to class, you're not going to learn. Like, the inaction typically leads to negative consequences.
It really does. And I think that's why it's important to realize that you ought to understand that the negative habits that you have in your life are there because the positive habits in your life that you're starting to ignite. You know, it's the theory that embodies every single assignment that physics has ever talked about. You know, the idea that, you know, if Newton's laws tell us that force equals to mass times acceleration. But if there's no mass, you can't accelerate anything.
Right. There has to be the component.
And there has to be every single component present. And every single component in your life is the habits that you have designed automatically.
Right.
You know, it's a sense of automatic mechanism that's within your brain. This automatic mechanism is consisted of your biases, and your biases are based upon your experiences. Right? So when you choose to select a bad habit and you act upon it, it's your experience that is leading you to act on it. You know, my bad habit is that I sometimes get caught up in a thinking of that negativity. I catch myself over and over and over again, you know, and this will happen randomly. I'll look at somebody and I'll be like,
yeah.
Right? That
Grunt,
weird,
which is like mix of resentment and jealousy and
whatever,
just unhelpful feelings.
Yeah, just unrelated feelings. What it should, and then something clicks.
Well, let's talk about what that something is, man. Because like yesterday, we were doing this podcast over here with Herbert, and I went home and I thought to myself, "Fuck, man, I wasn't myself in that podcast. Like nothing about Herbert, nothing about Kwaku. It's just like I went home in a bit of a depressive funk, thinking to myself." Was I at my best in that moment? Because I wasn't. Like here, now I feel alive. I'm very clear-headed. I know how I sound. I know what's coming out of my mouth. I'm aware of the room around me. But I wasn't present in that podcast with Herbert. And Herbert, if you listen to this, man, I'm sorry, brother. The podcast was fire. Don't get me wrong. You carried it. But how do you catch yourselves in these moments, like falling into a depressive, negative spiral?
I think it's understanding your intentions. I'm gonna simplify it.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that song by Lupe Fiasco, "Dumb It Down."
No, man.
Okay.
I'm not a big Lupe fan.
Okay,
I'm not gonna lie.
So Lupe dumbs everything down in his lyrical emblems that he embodies. I mean, most of the time, you know, just that one song, he literally just said to every single listener that I'm just gonna dumb this shit down for all of you all out there that are not lyrically inclined to understand what I'm trying to say.
It's so funny you say that because today I read something on Reddit where he's trying to sue his record label for insisting on him hiring a ghostwriter, which couldn't be more timely. But back to you. Sorry.
You know,
he wants to write his own shit.
Yeah, he needs to write. Yeah, and you know what? It's funny that could happen because, I mean, the music industry itself is just all fucked up and all that. Sorry for swearing, but
it's all good,
you
man.
know. But and people tell me that because some of the guys who are trying to be musicians, they're constantly in the state that people are just killing them with these random scenarios and random hits, which they don't need. But back to what I was talking about is that, you know, you got to understand when you take a step back and when you understand the intention that you made when you first woke up, not writing your intention down, none of that shit. When you first woke up, when you opened your eyes, the first thing that you did, That is the intention that defines the rest of your day. And I think that is self-awareness. Because me waking up every day, I wake up with a smile. Most of the time, I don't have to hit my alarm clock, which is fantastic. I look at my phone. I turn off my sleep cycle. And then I meditate for 10 minutes. Right away. There's a mat right beside my bed. I sit down and I just zen the fuck out.
Fucking love it, man.
And when I zen the fuck out, that intention, that smile that I woke up with allows me to carry the rest of my day in that exact same manner.
Well, this has been a theme that's come up on the podcast, like the perfect start to your morning. And I think the consensus amongst all the guests is wake up slow, and do the things that are special and important to you first thing in the morning. Because if you're rushing out the door, if you're scrambling to jump out of bed, leaving your bed in a mess and not brushing your teeth and grabbing something that's high in carbs and running out the door, that's how the rest of your day is going to play out. You're going to put shitty things into your system, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And guess what? You're going to have a terrible day versus what you do.
You're absolutely right. And I like to add something to that, is that try not to eat anything in the morning.
Damn, you're one of those intermittent fasting.
No, I'm not. It's not intermittent fasting. It's just about understanding how your gut actually operates the first thing in the morning. Because here's the thing about the gut, is that the gut is directly connected to your brain. The brain and gut connection is so significant in the human body that there's no other connection that can be better. Right? And most of the time, when you lose that brain and gut connection, you lose yourself. Right? And when you lose yourself, you're just you're either going into a slump, you're either going into a depressive state, or you're just finding yourself in a state that you've never experienced yourself before in. Right? So you got to understand how the gut operates. But the way that the gut operates is that it requires the bacteria to be physically just doing its job. And the best way to do bacteria to do their job is to be able to run it down on an empty stomach after a certain period of time. Right? The only thing that I'll have in the morning, man, and trust me when I tell you this, is that I was a huge morning eater. I love breakfast.
Yeah, man.
Right? But I only love breakfast to a certain degree. Like I'll eat breakfast after a certain amount of time. 3 hours. 3 hours since waking up. Okay? 5:30 wake up call. Okay? And about 8:30 I eat.
So there's 3 hours within which you're fasting.
I'm fasting. And all I'm drinking is either water or coffee. That's it. And I don't do, the only reason why I'll say I don't do intermittent fasting every day is because it just doesn't affect me. So it is that common balance that you got to find about yourself. But here's the thing. That morning ritual, you have to integrate something that puts you in an uncomfortable position.
Gotcha.
And for me, it became that it was breakfast, right? I was so into just having a meal in the morning. The first thing I woke up and did, just make myself some oatmeal. And then I'm like, no, you got to put yourself in a different position.
There's got to be something to this, man, and I don't doubt it for a second, right? Like I think about someone like Trump, for instance. Like Trump's gone on record to say he loves eating fast food. He will just shove every burger down his gullet because he says it's fuel. But then you also see the manifestation of Trump. Like like I was saying, there's nobody who looks at Donald Trump and says, I want that. That's the Trump body. That's the new look over there.
Yeah.
And then you think about the kind of decisions he's making and not making, and the way he's vindictive and resentful and negative all the time. I mean, he's not kidding anyone. Like Trump's not in the right mental state. I think so much of that is the result of, not making the right decisions like the ones that you've described right now, which is thinking about your body, respecting your body, putting the right fuel into it. Why don't we use that as a segue to go into the next segment of the show?
Of course.
Which I think you're going to be down for, but I'm going to ask you anyways. So, do you see that skull over there, man?
Yeah.
That's the Halo skull. That's what we call it. Have you played Halo back in the day?
I do. I did not. I did play a lot of Call of Duty, though.
Oh, man, you were one of those.
Yeah.
You missed out on some great gaming, man. Halo, the way that it worked is that you would activate these skulls if you were playing certain multiplayer games or even single-player games, and they would add a level of complexity to the game that would put you in a difficult or awkward situation.
Okay.
So we've custom-made a game just for you.
Okay.
But we don't have to play it. If you want to play it, fantastic. We're going to have a good time, and you'll be eligible to win Guest of the Year later on. But if you don't activate it, that's perfectly fine. We'll skip ahead. I just want to give you that heads up that it will lead to some awkwardness. So, Hussain Bokhari, would you like to play the Halo Skull game?
Let's do it.
Perfect.
Discomfort is my middle name, so.
This game is called Trump Minesweeper.
Okay.
How it works, man, is I've picked up 12 quotes. Some of them are from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Some of them are for Donald Trump.
Okay.
And I'm going to read them out to you, and then you guess which ones are which. And then halfway through the game, I'll introduce the modifier.
Okay.
And the reason why we chose Arnold, are you a fan of Arnold?
I am.
How'd you get into Arnold Schwarzenegger, man?
So,
Pumping Iron?
Yeah, no, you know what? It's funny. It was Pumping Iron, but I never knew Arnold until I was probably 17.
So you would have watched him, if I'm doing my math correctly. This is when you caught him like past the Terminators. He was on Terminator 3,
this is like way. He was a governor.
Oh shit! By then already. Oh wow.
And then the first thing that I looked at, I started to realize who Trump was. Who Arnold was. But at the end of the day, I had to go back.
Look at that catalog.
And look at that catalog, look at that encyclopedia, along with watching Pumping Iron.
Dude.
So I did a marathon one of the weekends, and I was
man.
just like, I gotta juice out right now.
Dude,
Juice out.
I know that feeling, man. Anybody who's listening to this who's watched Pumping Iron, if you didn't go to the gym after that, you didn't watch Pumping Iron.
I know.
Me and my brother, we watched that documentary. It changed our lives, man. Like, we became gym rats after that.
Oh, buddy.
Because he embodied this idea of like physical success that also then translated into other areas of your life. And so what he's done with his career, I mean, he's reached the top of bodybuilding, of politics, of movies, of celebrity. Like, he's become a champion in 4 different dimensions, which is wild, man. More than Trump can say.
Hey, I totally agree with you. And I think more than that, I think he's been a role model for millions of people.
Totally,
millions
man.
of men, millions of women, millions of just general human beings, around the world.
So let's see if listening to these quotes, you're able to distill the wisdom or lack thereof in them, and then accurately deduce if they belong to Arnold or Trump.
Okay.
You ready to go? And in around number 6, I'll introduce the modifier.
Let's do it.
So, quote number 1, if you don't find the time, if you don't do the work, you don't get the results. Arnold or Trump?
Arnold.
Well done. Number 2, failure is not an option. Everyone has to succeed.
Arnold.
Correct. That's 2 for 2. Number 3, anyone who thinks my story is anywhere near over is sadly mistaken.
Arnold.
Nope, that's Trump.
Oh, is that right?
You got to listen for the ego in there, man. Number 4, you can have results or excuses, not both.
Trump.
Arnold.
Really?
Oh, buddy, you were on a roll, but then it stopped for a second, so you're 2 out of 4.
Okay.
Number 5, don't get sidetracked. If you do get sidetracked, get back on track as soon as possible. Ultimately, sidetracking kills you.
Arnold.
Trump. This is tough, man.
Jeez.
Right? Number 6, always try to learn from other people's mistakes, not your own. It is much cheaper that way. There was a hint in there.
That's Trump.
Yes, you got it. What gave it away?
Cheaper.
There we go.
He's a cheap little.
It's cheaper.
He's a cheap little guy.
Now, dude, here's where we're going to make it even more difficult.
Okay, let's do it.
In that skull, there's 2 cards. One says Arnold, one says Trump on it. You get to pick, and then I will do the remainder of these in that accent just to throw things off even worse.
Oh, really?
I know. This is difficult for me. I feel like this is like an awkward situation for me, man. We should have flipped this around.
Arnold.
Do you want to do Arnold?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. If it jiggles, it's fat.
Arnold.
Yes. I like to think of the word focus as follow one course until successful.
Trump.
Yeah, man. Way to go. And you heard the Trump language through the Arnold accent. I'm proud of you, man. You can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets. You must work your ass off.
That's Arnold.
That's Arnold. Way to go. Can I switch it up to Trump for these last 3?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Success comes from failure, not from memorizing the right answers.
Do that again. Do that again.
Success comes from failure, not memorizing the right answers.
That's Arnold.
No, that's actually Trump.
Oh, is that right?
The last 2, man, maybe you can do this. Dreams are for dreamers. Goals are for achievers.
I'd say that's Trump.
That was Arnold. The final round, man.
Whew.
I'm going to go no accent with this one because
Okay.
I'm not going to lie, bro. You kind of sucked at this game, man. But these are tough in all
It's
fairness.
okay.
though.
It's
In all fairness.
Hey, you gotta lose sometimes to win, man.
This is the trick one because this, if I read it verbatim, it could come from either or.
Okay.
Milk is for babies. When you grow up, you have to drink beer. Choose carefully, man.
That's Trump, man.
That's Arnold, believe it or not.
Holy fuck. Why would you say that, Arnold?
Well, Hussain Bokhari, I think you got 5 out of 12, man.
Oh man, I lost.
But you know what? You played like a champion, and effort is all that matters over
That's
here,
all that
man.
matters.
You went into this willingly. It got really difficult in the last 6
It really
over there.
did, man.
But it's interesting when you hear these quotes. I mean, from two different types of people who embody two different types of success. I want to talk about your Instagram for a second, man. Like, you've made a very deliberate choice with your Instagram to position yourself as a thought leader, as somebody who's inspirational. Did anyone find that off-putting once you started that transition? Once you started going away from just documenting your life to now putting motivational quotes and turning the camera to your face and telling people about what's going on in your life? Did you find that some people found that a little strange?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think if you're not doing things out of the ordinary, or strange for that matter, then you're just failing at the end of the day in life. So yeah, I did have a lot of people who were shocked by it. I mean, in the world that is full of distractions, I don't know if tremendous amount of my friends actually noticed, which is even better, because if you don't notice, then I'm just doing my own thing, man. Then I'm grateful for that, because to be able to do my own thing, I think it allows me to just sit in this belief that I'm perfectly okay. And that is what I caught myself doing. It's like, I just went to the state where it's like, okay, let's just keep doing it. And then I realized, I'm like, I can do this better.
Yeah.
All I got to do is ask other people how I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when people started to give me feedback, that's when things actually went on a sidetrack. And you'll see that within the scope of the Instagram, is that, the aesthetics changed tremendously. The way that I wanted to pitch myself changed. The way I wanted to pitch thoughts changed. I wanted to make it more interactive. I wanted to make it more broken down into segments instead of just spitting my mind out there.
You did a brave thing. You did a brave thing by asking the audience what they want. But that's everything that a brand should do. Like, if a brand truly wants to succeed, there's a thing that they believe in and the story that they want to tell, but then there's also what the audience expects and wants to hear.
Yeah.
And you can't have an effective content strategy without. Like, I'm hearing this right now and I'm getting inspired because I think I'm afraid of asking the audience what they want for my feed. I think if I ask them what they want, they're going to ask me to do things that make me uncomfortable. But maybe that's what I need to do to go to the next level. Like what you're doing right now, you're posting these quotes unapologetically, you're turning the camera to yourself, you're filming yourself, making new strides in the gym. I mean, that requires a great deal of vulnerability. What gives you the motivation every single day to wake up and say, I'm going to create content that is true to me and is true to my followers?
That's a very good question. And I think the motivation is that I want to be able to be free.
Explain.
So freedom comes from a few different things. So in my mind, and in the mind of my viewers or listeners and people who watch me, is that freedom aligns with a sense of peace. So when I feel that I'm at peace sharing the thoughts that I want to share, everybody will listen to me from that same perspective. And that's why I keep things very raw. I keep things very engaged in that manner, is that I never leave things out in the open. When I put my YouTube videos up, I share the rawness of myself. I don't edit those videos. I literally record them and I put some music in there and I just put them out there. So I think that rawness allows me to consistently keep doing what I'm doing. I keep doing what I'm good at, which is just sharing the raw thoughts. And I think I get caught up sometimes. Like, maybe I should make this better. Because people are watching me. Optics matter.
Right.
Right? Optics matter. But at the same time, like, fuck it. At the end of the day, nobody's going to care that you care.
I think you're onto something over here, man, because I feel like the tides are shifting. I feel like we're getting away from this old paradigm of distance from the end user, distance from the audience, where you try to restrict the amount of times that you're seen and you try to control how often you're seen. But then not only that, when you are seen, it's polished, it's with a veneer, it's with filters, it's with pristine editing. I think what you're doing is you're embodying the Will Smith method, which is, hey, this is me, unapologetically me. This is me with no cuts, no edits, no filters whatsoever. I'm Will Smith. You're with me right now. And I think there's something almost visceral about that. It feels like Will Smith is your friend. It feels like Will Smith is your brother, your father, your whatever, it just feels real. It feels authentic versus a Kim K who that editing, that photo has gone through the wash 1,500 times.
I have a question. I have a question for the listeners that are going to be listening to this. The question is, why do you choose to give into somebody else's version of you?
Can I take a crack in answering that for the listeners?
Of course.
I think it's fear. I think it's fear of not being enough. Like, we believe that we're not enough, and we look to the likes, we look to the comments and the followers for validation. That if I get 10 likes, that means I don't matter. If I don't cross 3 digits, am I popular? If I don't have more than 500 followers, am I even relevant? And so there's a game that we see that we're emulating, and we're looking at people who have likely bought followers, who have likely genetically modified their accounts, and we think that's the standard.
But here's a question. Why do we do that?
I think it goes back to not feeling enough, not feeling authentically that we are good enough for ourselves and good enough for the people that we care about.
Do you think that's in the nature? Sorry to
No, this is great. I'm trying to think on behalf of the audience.
Yeah. Do you think that's the nature of a human being or the nurture of a human being?
Great question, man. I definitely think it's nurture, man. I think it's definitely nurture, and I know this from my perspective, having worked in marketing for the last 10 years. It's that people like myself with skills but bad intentions work overtime to agitate that feeling, that underlying feeling of not being enough, so that we can position our products, services, and events as the thing that you buy to fill that void in your life. I mean, the ultimate antidote to my work, if you wanted to put me out of business, believe that you're good enough for yourself. If everybody started believing that they don't need half the shit they're buying, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on that, is that the nurture is designed from the experiences that we have at an age where those experiences just stuck.
So and you know what's interesting, 14 seems to be the consensus of that magic age. And that's the age where it sounds like you were bullied, where other people made you believe that you weren't good enough, even though you were perfect.
Yeah.
You were perfect for yourself, perfect for your family, for your friends. But some son of a bitches out there went out of their way to, because they weren't feeling enough, they made you feel like you weren't enough, and that fucked you up for several years.
And you know what? I love to say that, I think people who did bully me, I think they made me the person that I am today. And I respect them for that.
You're too generous, man. I don't know if I'd feel the same way.
And let me tell you why, though, because it's that same embodiment that went back to why I chose to look up to somebody who gave up his life, who got murdered, and still chose to forgive his killer.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to understand is that, there are certain things in our life that we go through and that we hold on to significantly. And those things tend to define us more than anything else. And most of the time, they're the negative parts of our lives. Some people have this immense amount of positivity, immense amount of something that happens that's a positive impact. But even that positive impact, they choose to look at it in a negative lens. So at that time, when that happened to me, I chose to look at it the lens that was given to me. I got bullied. I just got to take it. I still got to fit in because I'm the new kid on the block. Right? And it's kind of funny because, this is the time when YouTube was starting to get famous,
Yeah.
right? And something happened in my life that was very interesting, is that people were hazing me, and there was somebody recording me
Oh, Jesus.
as I was getting hazed.
Jesus.
And it's funny because, I love that moment because I live for that moment. Because if it wasn't for that moment, I wouldn't be the optimistic individual that I am today, right? I wouldn't be the motivator. I wouldn't be the inspirer. I wouldn't be the individual that tells you to never quit, today.
Yeah.
Because that resilience to be able to see yourself on YouTube and see yourself, the day after in a class in front of all your peers on YouTube when the teacher is playing, with teachers outside, and a student steps up and puts it on the projector, you getting hazed.
Man.
It's
wow.
a very different feeling,
I can't imagine, man.
right? But you gotta take that feeling. You gotta find the positives in that. What did I do that led to that moment? Was that really necessary? It's funny because I recently started, at the beginning of this year, I started a book by Ryan Holiday, 366 meditations. They're meditations by Stoics, philosophers. And these philosophers have this embodiment emotion. That emotion is just a carrier of your disbelief.
Emotions are a carrier of your disbelief.
When you believe in something and you attach an emotion to it, you're quantifying that. You're literally putting that on steroids. And when you're putting that experience on steroids, what's going to happen is that you lose yourself. You get clouded. And when you get clouded, you're just thinking with that cloud over your mind. But with clarity requires self-awareness, right? So with that hazing, now that I look at it, hindsight, I look at it from a clear perspective. What did I do that led to that position, that put me in that position? Because I put myself in that position. Nobody else did. Right? I put myself in that position. I chose to go wherever I chose to, wherever I went. I chose to interact with the people that I chose to interact with. I could have been an entirely different human being, but I chose to do that. And I think that's what people stop doing. They stop giving themselves an opportunity to ask themselves that question. What is my part in this? You go through a relationship that is a shitty relationship.
Sure, toxic. Yeah.
Right? Toxic relationship. I got cheated on once, which is funny.
Yeah.
I got cheated on. I was an amazing dude, and I'm like, how could I get cheated on?
Right.
But here's the thing. What did I do
Yeah.
that led that girl to cheat on me?
Maybe you weren't as amazing as you thought.
No, not even just that. See? And you got to shift that. It's not that I wasn't amazing. It's just that I did something that she was scared of.
So you took extreme ownership and accountability of your role.
Of my actions. And I think that's where people tend to lose themselves, is that they're not emotionally accountable to themselves. And it's funny, I'm gonna mention these three questions.
No, please go for it.
To people. It's about emotional and control and emotional accountability, right? Why are you subjecting to this? Is this the environment for you? And is this the life that you really want?
Could you repeat that one more time?
Why are you subjecting to this?
Why are you subjecting to this? Okay.
Is this the environment for you?
Is this the environment for you?
Is this the life you really want?
Is this the life you really want? Those are scary questions, man. I mean, if people seriously ask those questions, they'll rethink 99% of their lives.
And I'm telling you, you don't have to think 99% of your life. You have to think that moment.
Yeah.
You have to embody that moment. 99% of your life is already gone, dude.
This is true.
It's gone. It's done. It's over with.
You're always operating in the 1%.
Every single decision that you've made in the past does not make you the person that you are in the present moment, but it makes you a person that you desire to be in the present moment. So if you ask yourself those questions in the present moment, what you choose to do is that you choose to give the reins of your life in your own hands. Right? You become the driver.
Yeah.
And trust me, like everybody wants to be the driver, right? You want to be the driver. You don't want to sit in the passenger seat and let the driver enjoy all that thrilling feeling, right? And people might think about this, man, driving? That's a shitty thing to do, especially on long road trips.
Yeah.
You know, I made a trip down to Miami, and I probably drove about 12 hours.
Jeez.
And it was a shitty drive because it was just raining, and I was just going down, you know, I-95, and it was just through Kentucky, and it was just shitty roads. But here's the thing, it gave me time to think. So when you're in the driver's seat, you're alone with your thoughts, dude.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing that you can do. Be alone with your thoughts, because that makes you human.
Damn. Bro, I feel like I'm so fired up just sitting over here, even though I'm like deathly ill and just passing through this cold on the recovery process. I'm like, let's just go to the rack after this and let's just squat everything there is, man. This is amazing, man. Like, and I like that, you know, you've already done the heavy work for us, because I just want to bottle up this feeling.
Absolutely.
And then just inject it into my veins
Yeah.
right now. But I'll take the second best thing, which is your Instagram account, where you document the process of what goes into making you you. And a big part of that is physical fitness. And let's switch gears a little bit and go into the performance point segment, where we talk about how it is that you manage and optimize three things: your time, your energy, your attention. Now, when we first did this podcast, we would ask like 9 questions per. But I think we've gotten to a formula where we know we can just explore each theme with a single question.
Of course.
So let me ask the first question to you with time. How does fitness factor into your schedule specifically? If I were to look at your calendar right now, how much of that, if we had to just color code everything that's related to physical fitness, how much of your calendar would be green, let's say?
I would say about
Percentage, if you had to give me a
Yeah,
range.
I
I have
would say-
168 hours.
I would say about I spend on a daily basis 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours a day. So that's about 14.5 hours.
So 2.5 hours a day in the gym. And is this all in one section, or do you do multiple
Just one
sections?
section.
So one section in the gym. Then you factor in eating. So you eat 3 times a day.
5
times a day.
5 times a day.
And when you say eat, like, is this meal supplement?
Yeah,
Or
just
is it-
small meals. I don't supplement much. Right? It's just small tiny meals.
Quaco and I, man, we're like on our C4 right now. Like, we're doing our pre-workout.
Oh, is that
shakes.
right?
Dude, I'm just jacked up right now off of just thinking about C4.
Yeah,
But
no,
if you're not supplementing, what am I doing wrong here?
So here's the thing about supplement, right? You got to understand that supplementation is that the word supplement, right? So it's not
In addition to.
In addition to. So if you find that you're getting yourself in a position that you're not getting enough nutrients, then sure, supplement. But here's the thing. With my foods are divided up into smaller portions.
Okay. So you're
And-
grazing throughout the day, basically.
Yes, exactly. And when I'm grazing throughout the day, I eat now, I eat then, I eat now, I eat then, I eat now, I eat then. Right. I don't time myself. Right. I'm not one of those meatheads who times myself and eats rice and chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was bodybuilding, yes, absolutely I
Sure.
did, because that's what it was required. But now that I'm a weightlifter, it's entirely different. So the sports segment of your life changes. Right. And even with general fitness, you got to understand is that the first thing about general fitness that a lot of people get wrong is that you have to step in the gym for 2 hours. No, you don't. No. Let's get that very cleared up. Is that if you step in the kitchen for 2 hours and make your food properly, you're perfectly fine, dude.
Really?
I'm telling you, 2 hours a week. That's all you got to do. 2 hours a week. Just go in your kitchen and make some things that you like.
So just make burgers, man.
That's it. If you like burgers, man, make burgers. But here's the
Dude,
thing.
I don't think I'm going to look like you if I
No,
eat
but you
burgers.
can modify those burgers, right? Think about it this way, is that you can modify those burgers. If you love burgers, let's go. You got patties, perfect.
Boom.
Yeah, you love salsa, put some salsa on the side. Take a bread, cut it in 2, put one piece of bread in one, the other piece of bread in the second one. You're still enjoying your burger,
Right.
but you're enjoying it at a limited frame.
So you're spreading it out.
And what happens when you spread it out? Remember that first thing that we talked about, that you're burning calories throughout the day?
Yep.
When you burn calories throughout the day and you're eating limited amount of calories, what happens? Offset. Right? You go into a deficit. When you go into a deficit, that's when people start to lose weight.
Yeah.
Right? And when you go into a surplus, you start to gain weight. So what I do is that I choose to not do neither. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just as many calories as I lose is how much I'm eating.
But to get to this current plateau that you're at, and when I say plateau, I'm not using it as a negative term.
Yeah, yeah.
You found like the perfect altitude for you,
Yeah.
where you filled out your frame. You want to look like this for a very long time.
Yeah.
But to get to that ascent, like there's some of us who are listening to this podcast who still haven't found their perfect body.
Yeah.
And what would you say to them, like in terms of calorie offset and calorie deficit and surplus?
I would say don't lose yourself. That's it. Literally, man. Honestly, I think a lot of people tend to put themselves in a box when they're going into their health and fitness goals.
Okay.
You don't have to be in a box. You're a human being. You're an individual that has their own needs.
Right.
Don't put yourself in a box. And a lot of trainers tend to put people in a box. You don't deserve to be in a box. You deserve to be flexible. You're a human being. You've got 2 arms. You got 2 legs. You got to move around, dude.
Yeah.
Right? And same thing, same idea goes to nutrition. Be flexible with your nutrition. Think about this way. When you're going to school, you spend 4 years in higher education. Then you go out there and you find a job. If you don't find a job, you go back to school. You spend 2 or 3 years there. You have to understand is that you got to balance those 4 years. Imagine this. Imagine you locked yourself in a closet and just focused on education for 4 years.
Okay.
Would you go mad?
Absolutely. Stir crazy within the first year, man.
Right? So the first thing that you got to understand is that you don't want to go mad when you're going on nutritional diets.
Right.
You don't want to go mad when you're going into the gym.
Sure.
Right? So don't put yourself in a box. Don't lock yourself in a closet that doesn't need to be locked. Right? Keep it open. Let some air in, and with that air comes a lot of other shit. Right? Let that shit in. Understand that. Because you, as a person, you have to understand that you can make choices. And when you make choices, just stick with those choices. Have a trial of those choices. Not working out? Let's have another trial.
Right.
Life is about trial and error.
I love this, man.
And life is about failing before you find your success.
This is a great philosophy for holistic bodies, man. It's making me rethink my approach to wellness. And I'm looking at your shirt right now, which says empower, educate, but a word that is not heard too often when it comes to the world of fitness and wellness. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And you're talking about balance in a way that's very accessible, very relatable. And so it's giving me a renewed perspective on something that I've now brought into my life in a big way back again, which is the second part of this question. It's around sleep. And I find that there's no substitute for it, man. I can wake up in the morning, have all the caffeine in the world. I can have an IV drip of caffeine.
Yeah.
Doesn't compare to getting a nice 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted, deep REM sleep.
Yeah.
Talk to me about sleep in the life of Hussain Bokhari. How is it that you go about structuring the ideal sleep for yourself?
Yeah, so I've had the hardest time with sleep, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, and the reason why I've had the hardest time with sleep is because from 2010 until 2013 or 14, since I did my 4 years of education, I just didn't know what sleep was. I would get 4, 5. 5 hours of sleep, it was perfectly fine. And then at some point I got to thinking, I'm like, look at me, I'm functioning.
Yeah.
I'm functioning. I'm 5 hours. I'm great. And it wasn't until this past year that I started to realize how much sleep has an effect on your mental capacity and how free, not how awake you are, how free you are when you have slept well. And I think that is what people need to understand is that if you want to recover, if you want to enjoy yourself on a day-to-day lifestyle, if you want to make sure that you hang out with your friends, you want to make sure that you go to the gym without having to, go have 200 milligrams of caffeine, or pop in some caffeine and ephedrine pills,
Sure.
You got to sleep.
That's it.
Now my sleep cycle is anywhere between 7 to 9 hours.
Ooh, you hit that 9 mark, eh?
Right? So
that's that baby sleep.
I don't go more than 9 hours. And within those 9 hours, my focus is get at least 2.5 to 3 hours of deep REM sleep.
and then your days are supercharged, man. And things it reminds me of the Tony Schwartz quote from the Energy Project, who says the amount of time allocated to you each day is finite, but the amount of energy you can generate infinite.
Is infinite. And it goes back to the energy systems that your body carries. You know, the energy system that your body carries with respect to health and wellness, it actually resonates, and it takes the fuel from the recovery that you've made during sleep.
Right.
You know, and those energy systems are required for you to be able to breathe properly, to be able to restore yourself properly, to be able to understand yourself properly, to be able to make right decisions. Think about it this way, is that, you know, a lot of people tend to look at individuals that are billionaires in just one lens. You know, you look at them and you just see what they do. Follow what they do and you'll become a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
I highly suggest that you don't do that, right? Let me tell you why.
Sure.
It's because you've forgotten is that how they got there.
Yeah.
Loss of sleep, but at some given time, somebody told them how sleep was important to them.
Right.
You know, and this goes back to what people say about Olympians. Even Olympians need coaches for sleep.
Yeah.
Right? Even Olympians need coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So if Olympians need coaches, who are you telling me that you're perfectly fine with getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep?
No, man, that's bullshit.
You know, I had to understand that myself, and I didn't have a coach to tell me that. But here's the thing, not everybody out there can understand that. So the second thing that I like to say to that is that find yourself somebody who can give you valuable advice, hopefully for free, and doesn't charge you much.
Dude, just follow Hus_life on Instagram, man. You get that.
Y'all just say, just send me a DM and I'll be happy to do anything that you guys like for free. Because if you're, and just make sure you mention that you listen to me on this podcast. That's all.
Absolutely, man. And where is this all leading to, man? The last question in the performance point segment is like, let's talk about attention. Because there's a lot of things going on in your life. So you've got Holistic Bodies, which is the brand that you've created to help people unlock their full potential.
Yes.
In those 3 ways.
Yeah.
Empower, educate, enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Then you're also studying to be a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
Like you were studying, and I wrote it down over here because I know I'm going to get it wrong, man. There's 3 things. You're studying Aerospace, Aeronautical, and Astronautical engineering.
Yeah.
You're doing your master's program here at Ryerson.
Yeah.
You're working in major gifts, so you're working in development.
Yeah.
And then 2.5 hours in the gym every single day.
Yes, sir.
Where is this all leading towards? Like, what is the version of Hussain that we're going to hear in season 4 or 5? Who is that guy?
So that's a great question. I do want to preface this by
Please.
I finished my master's.
Oh shit! Congratulations,
yeah, thank
man.
you. I
When?
finished,
Just right now?
I just this past fall.
So you're a certified rocket scientist now.
Well, I mean, you could say that, but I don't like to take credit for it. So the reason why, I wanna get into a little bit of backstory. So I graduated, got lost, understood that I wanted to do, but I knew what I didn't want to do even better, which was great because not a lot of people tend to have that, And what I didn't want to do was get myself into a situation where I would just stuck being a junior engineer for 4 or 5 years. So what I chose to do was something that was beneficial to me, right? Which was I chose to sign up with a team that was brand new on campus. And this is Ryerson campus, and this was a student learning center team, student engagement and leadership. And I was heavily involved in leadership and engagement throughout my 4 years of my undergrad. So when I did that, it gave me an opportunity to be part of the university. But what it also allowed me to do is test what was my limit of me understanding aerospace. I'm passionate. You got to understand, like I'm so passionate about aerospace. I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah, that's going to be the next podcast for sure,
right?
Man.
But here's the thing. Having a passion is very different than making money into that same passion, right? It turns your world upside down when you lose that passion in the process of just making money. And I never wanted to do that. I wanted to keep that passion, and I wanted to engrave that passion and enjoy that passion. So nowadays, what I do is that I choose to, do my own little tiny projects related to aerospace at home. And I still enjoy it. I'm still committed to it, but I'm doing it with my face. Mm-hmm. Nobody's telling me what to do.
Right. You're not in Bombardier working on something that you don't want to work on.
No.
Right?
And I never saw myself as a technical engineer because I always saw myself as a person who engage with people more than they engage with Internet of Things.
This is so weird to hear, man. It reminds me of the Musashi quote, which is, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I.e., you have this immense power. Like, you can go and build rockets tomorrow, man. You can create things, but you're choosing not to apply it. But you have that power mentally at the back of your mind that tomorrow you could go into any company, step in, and just make a world of a difference.
Yeah, yeah. And I can choose. I choose to not do that because, I enjoy what I do, right? And that's what I want to get back to, is that, choosing what you enjoy, choosing the choice that you make, and if that choice becomes the thing that you enjoy, it's very, very unlikely, right? But I hit that choice as soon as I went into engagement and leadership. I engaged with students. I was helping them through what they never thought they could help themselves through.
And did you discover this while doing your master's?
So I went into that position and then I started my master's.
Huh.
So I was doing my master's part-time as I was at the student engagement and leadership team.
Got you.
So I got the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
Right.
I am so grateful for the opportunities I've had in my life, is because every time that I find that I get myself into a position where I overwhelm myself, it's also an opportunity where I'm so grateful that I've had.
So then let's lock this back to that initial question, right? So you talked in the beginning about like having Ali as this person that you're chasing, but what are the other things that you're doing that'll keep you focused on a goal 5 or 10 years from now?
Yeah. And I think
Sorry,
those...
brother, we just got to get you to stop that. Sorry, man. It's gonna drive Kwaku out of the editing suite, man. It's all good.
Sorry, dude.
I get it, man.
And I think I wanna say this because the embodiment of Ali is always to look not ahead, to be in the present,
right?
To enjoy yourself now, and that's exactly what I'm doing. To enjoying myself now, but my goals in the future are to be myself, but a better version of myself. Right? And a better version of myself, do I foresee that happening? I do. Do I vision that every day? Yes. Do I want financial success? Absolutely. Do I want a financial freedom? Absolutely. Do I want a crazy amount of money? No, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah, there's two different things. Financial freedom and a crazy amount of money are not the same.
It's two different things.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear on that, is because I understood what I really wanted from the beginning. I understood that I wanted to have a good family.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that my family was well provided for. I never wanted to put my kids through not the hardship, but the crazy hardships that I'm still gonna put my kids through hardship.
Sure, you have
right?
to, man.
I have to. Like, I don't believe in that same ideologies that's currently existing, that you got to protect your kids. No, I think you got to let your kids loose. You got to let your kids enjoy. And I'm telling you, if I didn't get bullied,
be a very different dude, man. I don't think we'd be here, man. We wouldn't.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't be.
Man.
And you know what? It's funny because my mom knew about it. My mom knows about it, and she embraced that it happened.
Yeah.
Right. And I chose to make sure that she never acted upon it.
Right.
Right. And I think it made me more resilient. And I think I want my kids to experience discomfort. I want that. And I think I want that out there for every single listener that's listening to this. I want you to experience discomfort, whatever phase and whatever level of discomfort it is. Put yourself in a position where you don't see yourself now.
Well, I mean, you're the physical embodiment of that, man. Like, I see you lifting, doing cleans, doing squats, doing presses with significantly more weights. I've been following you for like a year now, and I see more plates every single time. And what you're doing is you're literally ripping and tearing your muscle so that a new layer can come on top of that, so you can shape like clay this physique that you've put to yourself. But not just the physique, but like the mental as well. And that only comes from being in difficult situations, doing difficult things, and just subjecting yourself to that hurt that you alluded to.
And I think it's just that if you do that in the gym, you're teaching yourself to be resilient to situations outside. That's it.
And if you do what you've always done, man, you'll get what you've always got.
That's it.
Look at me, man. I just plateaued in the gym, man. I'm doing the same fucking workout for the last 3 years, and I haven't actually improved my physique. So now I got to go back and rethink my game
Dude,
plan
I'll send you a
altogether.
workout tomorrow, and
Oh,
we'll make
man.
sure that, within the next 6 weeks, you're a different human being.
Dude, we got to get George Khalifa in here, and then me, you, and Kwaku and George got to do like a fitness challenge.
Let's
man.
do it.
Except Team C4 over here will like chug some C4 and we'll be set, man. And your team apple cider vinegar, man.
Hey, 100%. Or even just water, man. Just water.
All day, man.
Just water. No, I just want to say one thing in terms of nutrition and holistic bodies and everything. I think it's important for people to understand what they're getting themselves into. And I think I want to leave that with something that we're working on now, is that we're working on this this product that will allow people to actually question the coaches and the trainers and the dietitians and the people that they engage with. You got to understand the fitness industry is a $3.1 billion industry.
Oh, wow.
Right. And you got, and so it gets more and more every single time. So to be able to flush through the noise, it becomes hard for an everyday individual. Unless you're in the industry, then you'll start to realize what kind of flush that you want. But you have to go through that. So that's why we're making this product for everybody, for an everyday individual to actually go into a consultation and know what they're getting themselves into. Because most people get lost.
I'm excited, bro. And right as soon as we close this out, we'll do like a proper pitch for that, and I'll ask you a couple of questions that will hopefully get the listeners to tune in and follow you. But let's close this out with the rapid fire round, man. The lean and mean rapid fire round. Whew. Once upon a time, this was 21 questions, and then Jonathan Andrews came in and fucked shit up, man. Shout out to Jonathan, man. But that rapid fire round became like a slow fire round.
Yeah.
It was like a shooting volleys of missiles over here. But let's see if you can just machine gun Uzi style bang out these 10 questions,
Let's
man.
go.
There are 10 questions. You have no time to think. You got to say the first answer
thing
that comes to mind. And if we probe deeper, then we probe deeper. If not, just go right to the end. Hussain Bokhari, ready to go? Question number 1. What Instagram account inspires you the most?
Impact Theory, Tom Bilyeu.
Tom Bilyeu. Number 2. What's a game-changing book that everyone should read?
The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Robin Sharma. What's in your pocket, by the way, in your jacket? You had a book in there when you walked in.
So it's a book that I recently got, and I'm starting to read it now. It's called the subconscious mind
by
Dr. Jeffrey. I'll look it up.
This is dope. I feel like when we get our studio, we're gonna have to like stock this up with all the recommendations.
All
that
the
come from the guests.
100%.
Fantastic. What was your favorite childhood TV show?
You know what? I didn't watch TV growing up.
Dude, you didn't watch GeoTV back home in Pakistan, man?
No, we never had TV.
You weren't watching Amr Liaquat on his Eid, like on his Eid shit, bro? No.
Bro, no. I was just like, I was literally outside with my cousins and we were playing gulli danda, bro.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's talk about gulli danda, man.
Yeah,
like
man.
the precursor to cricket, man.
Cricket, bro. It's y'all. If y'all don't know what gulli danda is out there, you hit me up, man. I'll teach you.
It's the equivalent of foot hockey to real hockey, man, basically,
exactly.
man. What does a person need to be happy? What's one thing a person needs to be happy?
Self-respect.
What do you miss the most about Pakistan?
I'll
give you three things, man.
I'd say yeah. So I would say the street food.
Oh yeah.
I would say the warm weather, and I would say the crazy amount of people.
It's wild, man. If it's anything like Mumbai, if it's anything like India, bro, there's never a square foot that's wasted, man. You're never in a situation in India where there's not another person there. It's hard to explain.
So I grew up in a small town. It's called Buckhurst, just south of Multan. I don't know for anybody that's wondering. And that town is it's an amalgamation of 3 different types of people, and those 3 different types of people just embody the pure cultureness of Pakistan, the love for Pakistan. It's and on a daily basis you just see that. So I was just proud to be part of that town.
I'm into it, man. If someone wants to go Super Saiyan in the gym, what 3 songs should they listen to?
They should listen to
Start with one, man. The first one that comes to mind.
I would say Kendrick Lamar, his new album Humble.
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2, Metallica, Sandstorm.
Yeah.
Number 3, Aerosmith. Damn, forgetting the name of the song.
We can find it after, man.
You know
It's all
what?
good, man.
Listen to Hypnotize by Biggie. That's it.
Don, that's a really interesting combination of songs to go Super Saiyan, man. I can see it though.
You know what? Today I was listening to Punjabi music while I was working out.
How? Wait, how did this change your workout? Man? Did you have an extra bounce in your squats?
It really did it. You know what? It's kind of funny because I was just so deep into the music, and I want to, you know what? I want to give a shout out to this artist for doing a great job.
Go for it, man. You're the only guy I know who listens to Punjabi music. In the gym, man.
Sidhu Moosewala.
Sidhu Moosewala.
Yeah,
man.
that's his name, and he's this Punjabi artist from Brampton.
Yeah,
he's actually
local.
Yeah, he's a local human being. He's been doing a great job. So
good for him.
Shout
man.
out to Sidhu Moosewala.
Shout out to Sidhu Moosewala, bro. Number 7. If you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
Dalai Lama.
What is the most interesting thing you have in your bag or your coat or your wallet?
The most interesting. I would say a book. Every time I go anywhere, I just carry a book.
I've always seen you with a book for some reason. That's actually really true. The few times that I've seen you, you've always had a book on you.
I love books. I wish I could just, I can't wait to watch the movie The Professor and the Madman, because I just want to put myself in books.
They're life's cheat codes, man.
It's
people
huge.
who don't read books, I'm like, you're playing the game without cheat codes.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that, but why wouldn't you try to accelerate this a little bit?
And you know what? I have a hard time telling this to my dad because my dad's like, I know everything, buddy. I know everything. No, you don't, Dad.
Hook him up with Plato's Republic. Be like, yo, this is about to blow your mind, son.
Son, science is going to drive you into a next world.
Oh, man, there's words. You don't even know how to string together sentences because you've never seen them articulated as such, man. Who's a mentor that changed your life?
I'd say James Barnett. He's my current boss.
Okay.
He actually made me understand my true potential and in fundraising and how I could benefit the world of fundraising through what I've done.
Shout out to James. Do you work with Troy Murray by any chance?
I do.
Small ass world.
Shout out to Troy Murray, you know?
Yo, I got to get Troy to come on the podcast.
Man, we'll make it happen.
Have you heard a story about when he fell deathly ill?
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm like, dude, how have you not done a TED Talk yet, man? That's a crazy story.
Yeah, Troy's an amazing human being.
Yeah, man.
Glad to be part of that team. Yeah.
Man, small world, man. I got to hit up Troy after this. Man, dude, this is I came into this just ready to chat with you and just learn from the wisdom, but I'm oddly just hyped up, man. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, I might just go to the gym right after this. Who knows,
Let's do
man?
it, bro.
You have given us so many great nuggets and just gems in this podcast, but what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Don't stop being yourself.
Don't stop being yourself. Elaborate on that further for us.
Yeah. So, it was a time when I lost myself. And that idea of losing myself helped me get into this dark place. The dark place full of depression, dark place full of, suicide thoughts, dark place full of just not existing. So I had a close friend of mine, and he was going through a very bad breakup, and we were just leaning on each other, and at one time, and I told him, I'm like, listen, dude, you deserve better than what you just went through, and he goes, yeah, man, don't ever stop being yourself, because I motivated him, and that motivation inspired him to choose better. And in return, he told me to never stop being myself. And that led to the question is that, who am I? And who I became was myself.
Damn, I love that, man. That's reminding me of another quote very similar to that. Someone said, be the person who you needed when you were younger. And I think that you've made several decisions in your life. You're making them right now. You've made them for the last however many years. You've been intentionally focusing on personal development that are going to carry you forward, that are going to carry Holistic Bodies forward, Ryerson's development arm forward, all of your endeavors forward. Brother, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you. This is definitely not the first time we're going to be back on this podcast. One of my favorite contenders for Guest of the Year, man. Let's see what happens, bro.
Man, you know what? I am so grateful for you, what you're doing. I want to put it out there is that everybody listening to Hamza Khan, you got to make sure that you get to meet this guy in person. This guy is much more in person than what he sounds like. He's a kind human being. That's the first thing that I'd say about you. You're very open-minded, dude, and I respect you for that. And I think my sister worked for you at some given time.
What was your sister's name, man?
Zainab.
Hussain Bokhari.
Yes.
She part of RU Student Life?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have worked with her directly.
Okay.
She probably worked with like Tesney or Bailey or someone else who was running the team. When was she working with RU Student Life?
I can't remember when, but I feel like she might have worked with you. Maybe in RU student, maybe in RU Student Life, or maybe in what you're doing now in marketing at
Student Life Network. Well, shout out to Zainab, man. That's a small ass world, man.
Yeah, she's I'm sure she'll enjoy this. So, but yeah, man, dude, you are killing it.
Oh, dude, man.
So I can't wait to see what the next thing that you're gonna bring up.
Thank you, brother. This is an absolute pleasure. And I think the focus right now is like do really well with RU Student Life. Sorry, not RU Student Life. I keep on mixing them up. Do really well with Student Life Network, but also Tesney, shout out to you. Do well with RU Student Life. We're going to try and do the best that we can with Student Life Network and build the ultimate platform that is in our imaginations as a team. But for me personally, it's like this podcast has been something that I've really enjoyed. For me, it's been an active process of getting to meet people like yourself and all of the other guests that we've had and will have to create this dialogue, a different type of dialogue about personal development, productivity in these bad times. And bad times as an acronym for burnout, anxiety, and distraction. And I think that what you've given us over here, what you've given the listeners, is very concrete examples of things that you can do, micro decisions, habits that you can create.
Yes, sir.
That will help you to lead a more disciplined, tranquil, and focused life. How do we get people to follow your adventures online, and where can people get involved and learn more about you, more from you?
So I recently started a company called Holistic Bodies. So you can follow us on Instagram, Holistic Bodies 1. You can follow us on YouTube. We're constantly putting out content, smaller nuggets, very short. So you can listen to it on the way to work, on the way to your gym session or whatever. And then I just started a personal YouTube channel. You can follow me on Huss Life, HUSS_life. Follow my tweets because they're totally mine, and I tweet the shit out of Donald Trump because I don't like that guy. I'm gonna be vocal about it because, anyways. But yeah, so you can follow me there, Hussain Bokhari, or Hussain Box, BOKZ. And, feel free to hit me up with any questions that you have. I'm a man with an open mind and an open soul. So I love to help anybody that's out there.
My man, thank you so much for doing this. All the listeners, I'll see y'all in the gym. Let's do this.
Make sure you hit the gym today and you hit it tomorrow and the day after, and just stay consistent with it, folks.
Boom. We're out.
Peace out.